24 Hours Under Royal Protocol, Princess of Viana's Challenge. The golden sunlight catches the delicate fold of Princess Leonor's sash as she steps carefully onto the marble floor of the royal palace, her every movement measured, her posture flawless. In that single moment, you can feel the weight of centuries pressing down on her young shoulders, and you have to wonder, how does someone so young carry such immense responsibility without faltering? Now, imagine the scene, the corridors echoing with polished footsteps, servants gliding silently past, and cameras poised to capture each gesture. This is no ordinary day. These are the 24 hours under royal protocol, where every glance, every bow, every word is scrutinized by advisors, historians, and the public alike. For Princess Leonor, this isn't just about appearances, it's a test, a trial by tradition that will shape the future of Spain's monarchy. And here's where it gets interesting. Most people see the glitz and the glamour, the jewels, the meticulously chosen gowns. But behind that veil of elegance, there is relentless preparation. She wakes hours before the public, rehearses each ceremony, memorizes every protocol nuance, and considers the political and cultural weight of every gesture. Can a teenager truly embody centuries of royal expectation without breaking under the pressure? Her struggle is subtle but powerful. The Spanish royal family operates like a finely tuned machine, and yet every young heir brings her own human vulnerability to the equation. Princess Leonor's challenge is not simply performing, it is internalizing a role she did not choose, understanding that her actions will ripple through history, diplomacy, and public opinion. Now, let's step back and consider the hidden struggle. Many think of royal life as scripted perfection, but every moment carries a dual reality, the visible ceremony and the invisible pressure. The advisors, the staff, the public eye, they are all watching. And yet, she must appear composed, engaged, and fully present, as if the immense weight of expectation does not exist at all. How does someone maintain that balance when every misstep could be magnified beyond comprehension? Now, here's where you notice the first clue. Her body language is precise but telling. A slight hesitation before a bow, the subtle tension in her shoulders during a long formal greeting, the careful positioning of her hands, each micro-movement as a signal. These gestures are instinctively calibrated, yet they reveal the human effort required to maintain royal poise. Every motion is a conversation in silence, a testament to her training and an unspoken reflection of her inner tension. The second clue emerges in press coverage. Journalists observe, dissect, and report, often focusing on tiny deviations from expected behavior. Rumors swirl, not about scandal, but about competence, confidence, and readiness. The media narrative, though respectful, still functions as a magnifying lens on her every action. And you have to wonder, does the weight of external observation sharpen her focus or amplify her stress? Then comes the third clue, protocol breaks. Even in the strictest environment, there are moments of subtle human rebellion, a misstep corrected with grace, a spontaneous smile hidden behind formality, a fleeting glance toward a sister or advisor. These small deviations tell a story, that beneath the perfection lies a living, thinking, and feeling young woman learning to navigate a world designed to shape her into history. At the 10-minute mark of this single day, the pressure intensifies. Public engagements, ceremonial duties, and private rehearsals cascade back to back. Every greeting must be flawless, every appearance measured, every word weighed. The clock does not pause. And for Princess Leonor, the challenge is not just to perform, but to absorb these lessons, internalize them, and emerge as a poised and confident heir. How does she retain authenticity under the relentless structure of royal expectation? The pinnacle of the day comes during a high-profile ceremonial event. Cameras capture the exact alignment of her posture, the grace of her gestures, the intensity of her gaze. Observers note the subtle interactions with other royals, the careful attention to minute protocol details. This moment is both performance and preparation, a crucible that will define how she is perceived not only by Spain but by monarchies across the globe. But what does this mean for her future as queen? Every bow, every handshake, every perfectly timed smile is a building block in her public persona. These 24 hours are a condensed version of a lifelong apprenticeship, a snapshot of the rigorous molding process that shapes leaders. The lessons of protocol, endurance, and grace under scrutiny are inseparable from the expectations that history imposes on her. Now, reflect for a moment. These ceremonial trials are not merely about tradition, they are about identity. Princess Leonor is learning not only how to lead but how to embody the continuity of a centuries-old institution. Every glance she exchanges, every note she memorizes, every movement she rehearses is a thread in the tapestry of her future reign. And yet, beneath the majesty, there is the quiet echo of her personal struggle, a constant negotiation between self and duty. As the day winds down, and the palace corridors fall silent, there is a stillness that contrasts sharply with the intensity of the hours past. Here, in these moments of solitude, Princess Leonor reflects, recenters, and prepares for what is to come. The public may see the composed figure, but only the inner circle perceives the magnitude of focus, resilience, and discipline that each ceremonial step demands. The haunting thought lingers: can anyone truly measure the impact of a single day under royal protocol on a young heir? These 24 hours are more than a performance, they are a formative crucible, shaping character, judgment, and grace in ways that will reverberate through the years of her reign. And you have to wonder, how does a teenager carry the weight of history, expectation, and the gaze of a nation on her shoulders? Each gesture, every interaction, even the smallest ceremonial detail, is an echo of centuries of tradition. The future of the monarchy rests not only on diplomacy and law but on these daily tests of endurance, composure, and insight. Princess Leonor's challenge is both extraordinary and profoundly human, a reminder that beneath the crown lies a young woman learning, struggling, and rising to meet the demands of destiny. And as the palace lights dim and the day's duties are recorded in memory and documentation, we glimpse the transformation underway. The princess's posture, expressions, and interactions reveal a careful calibration of skill and instinct, a young woman stepping into a role larger than life itself. This is the unseen side of royal life, the invisible rehearsal that precedes every public performance. The question remains: after 24 hours of unyielding protocol, what is truly left within the princess? Composure, confidence, and grace, yes, but also exhaustion, reflection, and the steady accumulation of wisdom. Each day, each protocol, each moment under scrutiny is a brick in the foundation of a future Queen of Spain. And so we close this chapter of her journey with a haunting thought: the brilliance of a royal life is inseparable from its rigor. Every smile, every gesture, every perfectly executed bow is the product of human perseverance, discipline, and quiet courage. Princess Leonor's 24 hours under royal protocol are more than a test, they are a window into the making of a monarch, a reminder of the weight that crowns not only heads but hearts as well. The morning light barely warms the palace halls when Princess Leonor begins her next engagement, moving with the kind of precision that seems effortless but is, in truth, the product of years of preparation. Every step echoes through the polished marble, a rhythmic reminder of the ceremonies yet to come. You might think it's all rehearsed pageantry, but there's a subtle tension in her posture, a quiet awareness that every observer, from ministers to photographers, is silently cataloging her every move. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Behind the smiles and elegant bows, there is a choreography that combines diplomacy, tradition, and personal endurance. She's not just greeting dignitaries, she's sending signals about competence, confidence, and composure. And you have to wonder, how does someone so young internalize these lessons while remaining authentically herself? By mid-morning, the pace doesn't relent. Princess Leonor transitions seamlessly between audiences, protocol rehearsals, and ceremonial duties. Her interactions with officials are polite yet deliberate, conveying respect without losing individuality. Every nuance, the tilt of the head, the cadence of her speech, the way she positions her hands, tells a story. It's a silent dialogue, one that only the trained eye can fully interpret, yet it shapes the way history will remember her. The hidden struggle becomes more apparent when you notice the small breaks in protocol, an unintentional gesture, a fleeting glance toward a sister or advisor, a micro-smile. These moments reveal the human side of royalty. Even in perfection, there is imperfection, and it is these glimpses of humanity that endear Princess Leonor to those who understand the enormous weight she carries. And then there's her interaction with Infanta Sofia, often overlooked by the public eye. The sisters share subtle signals of support, brief moments of shared laughter, or whispered encouragements during long ceremonies. It is a reminder that even in the most rigidly structured environment, family ties provide strength, comfort, and guidance. How much of Princess Leonor's resilience comes from her own determination versus the quiet influence of her sister's presence? As the afternoon approaches, we see the second clue of her day: press observation. Reporters and photographers line the corridors, not with scandal in mind, but with an acute eye for detail. Each misstep, however slight, becomes fodder for analysis, commentary, and subtle narrative shaping. The pressure of observation can be crushing, yet it sharpens her focus, forcing her to maintain composure, elegance, and precision. Can anyone thrive under such constant scrutiny and still exude warmth and charm? Her body language now tells a story of endurance. The slight tension in her shoulders, the measured eye contact, the careful modulation of her voice, all are signs of someone operating at the peak of focus and awareness. It's a delicate balance: too relaxed, and she risks appearing inattentive; too rigid, and she risks alienation. Observers may notice a graceful bow, but the effort behind it is invisible. And yet, in these very subtleties, we begin to see the making of a monarch. The third clue emerges during an unexpected moment: a minor protocol adjustment, a quick correction by a royal advisor, or a subtle deviation from the expected ceremonial sequence. Princess Leonor handles each instance with a blend of instinct, training, and grace. These moments are rare, yet revealing. They showcase not only her knowledge of tradition but also her ability to adapt, a critical skill for a future queen who must navigate both rigid structures and unpredictable events. By late afternoon, fatigue sets in, but the public never sees it. Cameras capture her composure, the perfect alignment of dress, posture, and gesture, masking hours of exertion. Every handshake, every nod, every carefully considered expression is a testament to discipline and endurance. How does one maintain elegance and authenticity when the mind is aware of every expectation, every judgment, every historical precedent? Now, consider the interactions with high-ranking officials. Each discussion, each ceremonial exchange, carries multiple layers of significance. Beyond politeness, beyond tradition, these moments test her intelligence, awareness, and ability to project authority while remaining approachable. The Princess of Viana is learning the art of soft power, the subtle persuasion of presence, poise, and perception. Even as night approaches, her duties do not end. Private rehearsals, briefings, and reflection sessions continue, all aimed at reinforcing knowledge, behavior, and confidence. This is a relentless cycle of preparation and performance, a compressed version of a lifetime of royal training. And you have to wonder, how much of her identity is shaped by these 24 hours, and how much is simply her innate character emerging under pressure. The human element becomes even clearer in her private moments, away from public eyes. A small sigh of relief, a fleeting expression of fatigue, or a quiet conversation with an advisor, these are glimpses of the person beneath the ceremonial armor. They remind us that the princess is not just a symbol or a figurehead, but a young woman learning to navigate expectations, responsibility, and legacy all at once. As the clock strikes late evening, the final ceremonial events unfold. Every movement, every gesture, every phrase is scrutinized, yet she manages to maintain a balance that few could achieve. The precision of her posture, the subtlety of her expressions, the care in her interactions, they all reflect a deep understanding of her role and the immense responsibility it carries. And now comes the climax of the 24 hours, a public appearance that combines ceremonial, diplomatic, and media elements into a single, high-stakes performance. Cameras flash, officials observe, and the public watches, but Princess Leonor remains composed. Every micro-gesture, eye contact, posture, hand positioning, is deliberate, conveying confidence and grace. Here, the culmination of a full day's preparation is visible in the seamless performance of tradition, duty, and personal poise. Reflect for a moment. These 24 hours are not just about completing ceremonial duties, they are a concentrated lesson in leadership, endurance, and perception. Each moment is a building block in the foundation of a future queen, shaping her ability to lead, influence, and embody centuries of tradition. How does such a young person absorb these lessons without losing herself in the process? As the day concludes, and the palace corridors empty, there is a quiet reflection that the public rarely sees. The princess's posture may remain perfect, but internally she is processing, learning, and adapting. These 24 hours of relentless duty are more than a test, they are a transformation, shaping not only her public persona but also her inner strength, resilience, and understanding of monarchy. And so, as night falls and the palace lights dim, the weight of history and expectation remains. Every movement, every decision, every small gesture has contributed to the shaping of a future queen. Princess Leonor's 24 hours under royal protocol reveal the human side of royalty, the discipline, the pressure, and the quiet triumphs that go unseen but are essential to the making of a monarch. As the evening deepens, the palace becomes a quieter stage, but the weight of duties remains just as heavy. Princess Leonor moves through the final engagements with a poised calm, her expression carefully balanced between formality and subtle warmth. The corridors may be empty, but the echoes of history reverberate in every step she takes. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Each movement, each glance, carries lessons from centuries of monarchy, and she absorbs them like a sponge, translating protocol into lived experience. At this hour, subtle fatigue begins to appear, though imperceptible to the untrained eye. The careful alignment of posture requires constant recalibration. The princess has been standing, greeting, observing, and performing for over 16 hours, yet she must maintain the air of ease, as if the pressure is invisible. How does someone remain so composed under the scrutiny of history, tradition, and public expectation simultaneously? Private lessons and briefings continue even as the palace grows silent. Advisors offer critiques, correct tiny missteps, and reinforce etiquette nuances. Each note, each whispered instruction, is absorbed meticulously, shaping her understanding of the complex web of royal conduct. Even when alone, she rehearses in her mind, refining gestures and responses, practicing bows, handshakes, and the proper way to engage with dignitaries. These hours are a crucible of endurance, requiring both mental and physical discipline. Now, observe the small interactions with the household staff. A whispered reminder, a carefully placed gesture, a subtle correction, these moments are as instructive as formal lessons. They show the layered complexity of palace life, where protocol extends not only to grand ceremonies but also to everyday interactions. How much does mastering these hidden rituals contribute to the princess's readiness for her future role? The media, ever watchful, captures a portion of these final engagements, though most of the day remains unseen. Journalists note the grace, the composure, and the subtle expressions that reveal effort behind the perfection. Rumors, speculation, and praise follow, yet it is the quieter moments, the micro-expressions, the fleeting interactions with aides, that truly define her character. These moments are like whispered secrets, glimpses into the making of a monarch that few will ever fully understand. By late evening, the cumulative effect of the day's rigor becomes more pronounced. Slight tension in the shoulders, a measured eye contact, a carefully moderated tone, these details reveal the internal balancing act required of someone in her position. Each ceremonial bow, each wave to the public, each interaction with officials is part of a finely tuned performance, yet beneath it all lies a human being learning to navigate the immense responsibility she carries. And then comes the personal reflection period, unseen by cameras. In private chambers, Princess Leonor reviews the day's events, considers feedback, and mentally rehearses for the engagements still to come. It is a moment of introspection, a chance to reconcile the public persona with the personal identity. How does a young princess reconcile the grandeur and scrutiny of public life with her own desires, fears, and ambitions? The evening engagements include smaller, intimate audiences with dignitaries, ministers, and members of the royal household. These moments demand the same exacting precision as grand ceremonies, but with added complexity, the need to convey confidence, empathy, and awareness simultaneously. Here, gestures are scrutinized more subtly, tone is measured more carefully, and composure must be maintained under the silent evaluation of seasoned observers. Now, consider the dynamics with Infanta Sofia. Even in private, the presence of her sister is a source of reassurance and subtle guidance. A shared glance, a brief exchange, or a small laugh provides both emotional support and a grounding in familiarity amid the formal rigidity. How much of Princess Leonor's poise is her own, and how much is a reflection of these quiet familial moments that offer comfort in the midst of relentless expectation? The clock moves toward late night, and every remaining engagement is a lesson in endurance. Dinner meetings, ceremonial reflections, and briefings blend into one seamless continuum, with no real pause. Each step is a rehearsal for leadership, each interaction a demonstration of adaptability, patience, and tact. How does a young heir retain focus when every moment is historically and politically significant? In these quieter evening hours, the body begins to communicate fatigue subtly, slight micro-movements, careful shifts of weight, a measured pause in speech. Observers might miss these signs, but the trained eye sees them. They tell the story of sustained effort, of endurance, of a young woman navigating responsibilities far beyond her years. And yet, she continues with an air of effortless elegance that belies the immense exertion required. Then comes the final ceremonial engagement of the day, a late-night audience with senior officials. Here, every gesture, every tone, every word matters. Cameras may be few, but the significance is immense. Princess Leonor must convey intelligence, attentiveness, and grace, all while maintaining the dignity of her role. This is the test of the day, the culmination of hours spent under pressure, absorbing lessons, performing duties, and managing both internal and external expectations. Now, observe the subtle mastery in her body language. The slight tilt of her head, the precise modulation of her tone, the careful eye contact, they are marks of someone trained not only in etiquette but in leadership. These signals communicate authority without arrogance, warmth without informality, and competence without pretension. How does someone learn to convey so much in gestures that last only a few seconds? As the final moments of the day unfold, there is a stillness in the palace that contrasts sharply with the day's intensity. The princess reviews, reflects, and internalizes the experience. The public sees the polished figure, but the internal narrative is one of learning, endurance, and subtle triumph. Every interaction, every gesture, every moment of self-control contributes to the shaping of a future queen. The final lesson of these 24 hours is endurance, not just the ability to perform, but the ability to absorb, reflect, and adapt. Princess Leonor has spent the day navigating ceremonial expectations, public scrutiny, media observation, and private instruction, all while maintaining composure and grace. Each hour has been a microcosm of royal life, testing patience, resilience, and focus. And now, as the night concludes, the palace is quiet, yet the pressure and preparation of the day echo in memory and anticipation. These 24 hours are not merely a single day, they are a concentrated experience, a distilled education in leadership, poise, and protocol. How does a young princess carry this weight and still maintain authenticity, curiosity, and compassion? Every moment, even those unseen by the public eye, is part of the architecture of monarchy. The gestures, the bows, the meticulous attention to protocol, all are lessons in perception, endurance, and influence. Princess Leonor's challenge is not only to meet expectations but to internalize them, creating a foundation for decisions, diplomacy, and public presence that will define her reign. The day's final reflection is quiet, private, and intimate. Here, Princess Leonor consolidates knowledge, processes feedback, and prepares for the continuation of her duties. The lessons are subtle yet profound, the interplay between personal instinct and institutional expectation, between public duty and private reflection. This is the crucible of royal formation, shaping character as much as skill. And as the palace finally sleeps, the lingering thought remains, the brilliance of royalty is inseparable from the rigor of preparation. Each bow, each handshake, each micro-gesture is the product of focus, discipline, and quiet courage. Princess Leonor's 24 hours under royal protocol are more than a test, they are a window into the making of a monarch, a glimpse at the extraordinary pressures and the extraordinary resilience that define the life of a future Queen of Spain.